Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Cool
Down.
Cooling it down.
Cool down. We've got a return of a soldier from North London. His name is Matthew Waite. He was telling us about his weekend adventures in backpacker land as a 30-something-year-old man. Can't really continue. How's it going, Matt? Are you good?
I'm good. It's good to be back. Good weekend for Spurs as well. So
now, good.
Take it easy, Matty. Take it easy.
And then we've got the man who was a bit cocky last week because of the takeover. I think he's humbled down a bit. Nick, how's it going? Nick, how's it going? Ah, man. You can't even hear
He
me.
says he doesn't speak to peasants anymore. Now he only speaks to
It's all good.
he only speaks to big teams.
And then we've got a guy on the show who was bailed out by his goalkeeper, Edward Mendy, over the weekend. How are you doing, Musa?
Results in the bag, so no complaints from my side.
Hey, as long as you're okay, And then we've got Wanga Denga, who couldn't allow his former manager to get 3 points. Not former manager, but former captain, legendary captain Patrick Vieira. You had to snatch it away from him. Come on, how are you doing, Wanga?
No, I'm good. It's not the result I wanted, but yeah, it's progress. That's what I see.
No, that's all good. I see
You're lucky to have had that result, even.
No,
even you.
Leave me out of this.
Sam is in the comments. How's it, Sam? Pooms as well is in the comments. Sam, I guess, is laughing at the fact that Wanga and Musa are probably sharing the same sentiments, obviously, but Musa got 3 points, but luckily so. But yeah, I told you the startup team. You've got to beware of the startup team. That's what we all said. Beware of the startup team. Let's see if Nick can get back into the stream. What's happening, Nick?
Beware of the startup team. You guys must beware of the startup team. As we showed them, we taught them a lesson.
Okay, no, we'll get Nick. We'll get Nick
very proficient and professional.
Hey. Yeah, as you guys can all see, tonight we don't have another guy called Claudio Barrero. But shout out to Christine, who ran all the way from Johannesburg to Cape Town with Mad to Run. Mad to Run. It's a great organization doing. It's a charity organization, and they ran all the way from Johannesburg to Cape Town, which is 1,300 kilometers. Madness. She ran crazy shift. So let's just give her a round of applause, guys.
Yeah, that was mad.
Yeah, it was crazy. I think they did it in like a span of 10 days, even, which is a massive accomplishment for them.
No, definitely. Let's see if this works. Yes, and it works. You see, I'm back. Oh, wrong guy.
Except, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Wait, don't worry.
You're using the word works there, just somewhat.
Hey!
So sorry, guys. We've got our substitute teacher in class today. He doesn't know how the instruments work and the machines work. But I think he's up to speed now.
I know everything, guys. I know everything. The show is on. Nick,
we are here.
Nick, the King of the North, are you there? The King of the North, are you there?
I can't see anything. I don't know if you guys can hear me.
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
But you're not moving. You're not moving like the Newcastle right now. They've been rooted to number 19 of the log. Rooted to number 19 of the log. So that's what you do right now. You're not moving like Newcastle.
Hey man.
You're only gonna start moving in like January, maybe, Chief.
Yeah, if we can get rid of Bruce, maybe that will help. So yeah, hopefully that happens in the next couple of days.
I think let's start with the weekend fixtures.
She's bad.
Let's start with the weekend fixtures, guys. I think normally, guys, you know what happens on this show. Liverpool plays first on the weekend, and then all of a sudden we're talking about Liverpool at the end. but we can just dissect Liverpool. But we're going to give Liverpool 5 minutes, guys. They deserve 5 minutes for 5 goals. And yeah, did you guys watch the fixture? Did you guys watch the fixture? I think obviously the moment we can all talk about first is Mohamed Salah's goal and the raging debate about is he the best player in the world currently?
Yeah, he's. Look, I mean, I watched the game. Obviously, Liverpool they're all over. They're all over Watford. I mean, Salah's pass to Mane for the first goal. As soon as that went, I mean, the pass, hopeless. I mean, defender can't get there. Only person who can get there is Salah. It's bent around him. It's inch perfect. Good finish. And then you get Salah now scoring that goal. I mean, and he's doing that now for the second week running. I think now he's putting him outside there. He's putting his name out there, saying, I mean, for sure, at the current moment, he's on fire. He's on fire. He's doing things like single-handedly, assisting, scoring. He's causing problems. He's a menace. So yeah, but I mean, I watched the game, and that was my feeling. I didn't believe Watford had a chance in the beginning. I mean, before the game, and yeah, Liverpool went out there and they cleaned. I would have thought 3-0, and they put 5. So yeah.
No, definitely. I think. Do you guys think Watford will definitely go down? I think obviously it was one of the teams we spoke about beginning of the season. I think Matt said Watford. I said Watford. Who else said Watford? I probably like 4 or 5 of us. Yeah, 4 or 5 of us.
The thing is, I must say, to Ranieri's credit, so this isn't a good example. It's his first game in charge. Liverpool were rampant. I think they would have scored 5 goals against quite a few sides this weekend. But Ranieri normally does it right from the back. So you got to hope that if he has a chance to kind of instill his methods in the side, they'll stop conceding so many. And you also look at the squad of Watford. They don't have, you don't expect them to be finishing top 4 or whatever, but they don't have terrible players. Yeah. They're in with every shout. And I think there's a few sides who are currently bouncing around the bottom who probably feel like they've got a good chance of getting out of there. I think the relegation battle could be a really tight one. And I think in that regard, so as I did say Watford at the beginning of the season, but I thought bringing in Ranieri was really smart. I think they also did do a little bit of smart business after we had made our predictions. A couple of the people they brought in could add a bit of quality. But it is going to be tough. There's going to be a lot of football to play. They're going to have to do a lot better than they did. I mean, poor old Danny Rose, who I obviously really love. He looked well out of his depth. He got absolutely turned inside out.
Commentator called him overweight even. I was like, what?
I think that's a bit harsh. I mean, to go playing professional football, like, imagine, give me a Watford shirt, I'll show you overweight.
No, that was harsh. It was harsh. The other commentator calmed him down quick, and he's like, no.
Anybody left running after Salah on you're going to look out of shape compared to that. The way he's playing at the moment, he's floating a couple of inches off the ground, isn't he?
Individual brilliance every single game from Mohamed Salah. I think he's showing off right now, and I think obviously we've probably touched on it before in terms of Liverpool giving him a new contract and so on. And I hear the rumors are that he wants about £400,000 a week, and I think there's obviously a big debate for Liverpool fans. Some are saying that he's not worth 400,000 rand a week because he's going to earn this amount for the next. No, but they're saying that he's going to earn this salary for the next 4 years, and you might not really get the best out of him, and then he's going to leave for free. But I think a player like that deserves a salary of £400,000 a week, guys. He deserves to double his salary, or at least get £150,000 more a week, because
I know a team that can pay that. Or double even.
But he's fine. Is it up in the north? It's up in the north. It's up in the north.
Golf data issues up there. It may be a bit too soon for a player like Salah to look at Newcastle, but potentially, if the Saudis can show that there is a big player that they're trying to secure and they're trying to pay those kind of fees to, I don't think he'd probably have to make the move to Newcastle if the boys pay the bucks.
The challenge for someone like Salah, because he is a little bit older, and a project like Newcastle, he wants Champions League for the next 2-3 years so that he can play Champions League in his peak. Newcastle are not going to have Champions League next season. There's no guarantee they'll have it the season after that. So someone like Salah going to Newcastle, as much as he might, I mean, obviously he'll lift them and he'll do stuff with them. He might also then be saying he's going to miss his next prime 2 years playing Champions League. So I think they're going to have to, if you think about when City first got their cash injection, they had to kind of do kind of smart deals to try and get them up to that level before they could start bringing in those big names. So I think that's why they need a manager who knows how to do this. It's not as simple. It's not Championship Manager, you know. You can't just download and I've got $1 billion, so I'll buy whatever I want. You've got to have a manager. You got to have a manager who's actually be able to do that. And I don't think it's as easy as we all think. I think the first step's definitely getting rid of Bruce. I don't think he's quite got the long-term vision. I mean, fair play to the dude. 1,000 games in charge. I mean, you know, none of us would have guessed that. So, you know, good for him. But I think, you know, hashtag time's up, as it were.
I see in the comments here. We've got someone called Lord of the White Sinners, but I don't know what that is. But how's it going?
What's up?
And we've got Warren as well in the comments. How's it going, Warren? I think we've exceeded our 5 minutes for 5 Liverpool goals. My last comment is that Bobby Firmino scored a hat trick. So if Bobby Firmino can score a hat trick, then you just know that your team was crap on the day.
But what this does do for Salah, right? It puts him right up there with some of the all-time highest scoring Africans to play in the EPL, which is quite exciting. And then to see like it's Sadio Mane just underneath him, it's like it does give a lot of plaudits for him to then be considered to be potentially currently one of the best players in the world. With
something that I can ask all of you guys quickly, right? Is Mohamed Salah the greatest ever African player to play in the Premier League? I'm going to start with Nick, Matt, and then Musa, and then Wanga, then myself. Nick, yes or no? Is Mohamed Salah the greatest Premier League, greatest African player to play in the Premier League?
It's a tough one. I think Drogba won more titles there.
4.
So I think he's got to probably continue doing what he's doing and probably win a few more trophies until that, you know. Obviously I think he surpassed Drogba's record. Was that the record he broke?
He's on the same amount of goals now.
I don't know. I think just looking at the trophies, you know, I think you also have to measure a player's ability based on how many trophies he's won for his club. So I mean, he's right up there. I'd say probably those two go pound for pound. But Drogba was something special. So, I mean, if you said to me Salah was the best, it would be hard to argue, but I can see why people would defend a Drogba in that sense.
Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Nick nailed it. I think there's every reason to believe he could be. I think at the moment, probably Drogba just edges it. And again, it's he may be a victim of the different systems the team plays, because Liverpool are very team first. You know, there's no one individual star. Whereas when Drogba was at Chelsea, he was very much the linchpin of the attack. So everything went through him. So you got to see him influencing the games more. So I think at the moment, probably Drogba just edges it. But if Salah does what he's doing for the next 2 years, it's going to be beyond doubt. Because I mean, at the moment, the goal tally, Salah's ahead, but it's, you know, if he does this for 2 more seasons, he'll be out of sight, and then you won't be able to argue with it.
Yeah, Musa.
Yeah, true. I think like if you're looking at the numbers and you're looking at the amount of individual contributions he's made, he is currently fortunate to be breaking that record that Drogba held, and that is significant, you know, for an African player to break it. I just think, you know, in terms of sheer brilliance and talent, there've been other great African players that have come in through the system. You know, we're talking of Drogba, who managed to do it at the right time for Chelsea, but there are other players like a striker that I think is one of the best that we've ever seen is Samuel Eto'o, and he actually played in the Premier League at some point. So those type of strikers would be a lot more scary for me if I was facing them versus if I was facing Mohamed Salah. And even if I was to put it in context, if I was facing an Eto on top form versus a Salah on top form, I'd be much more scared of Eto.
We're talking about Premier League top form, your best form. We're not talking about Eto as the greatest African player. No, we're talking about
one off.
No, Eto's best form was in Italy and Spain. We're not talking about that, man.
I'm just saying one of the best players.
We're talking one of good seasons. I want to put Koto in there.
Exactly. Come on, Wonga, give us. Wonga, give us something better.
There we go.
Give us something better than Bosa. What do you think?
That was my.
No, look, I think Nick and Matthew hit it there. I mean, you have to. A player you have to judge him by obviously what he does, what he's doing. If his position, obviously, what is it? Salah, obviously, he's there to score goals, so he's scoring goals. And then again, the cups that he's winning, the end product. That's also has to be judged on that as well. And I mean, you had guys like JJ Kocha. I mean, you can't even. I mean, the guy's brilliant. I mean, any person wouldn't want to go 1v1 against JJ Kocha. You make you look like a fool. But the question again is what did he win? You know, they'll ask him that. But respect to the guy. I'm not saying now JJ Kocha was useless, but I'm just saying now if we're gonna say the greatest, if we're looking at the greatest African, we have to put it all up, just like Nick and Matt said.
I mean,
at the moment,
I thought you were gonna say Adebayo. I thought you were going to say Adebayo.
Look, can even go back and say Konu.
If you're looking at a player that maybe never scored as many goals, but probably was a really pivotal part of Man City's success was Yaya Toure. Like
yes,
you're right.
Yaya has to be in the top 3, guys. If you
he has to be there.
Then I think
yes.
He is definitely like a part of the Man City revolution. Him, Company, Vincent Company, Sergio Aguero, and David Silva. Those are the guys who made Man City what they are right now. And he won
100%
titles under Mancini and under Pep. So I think, guys, it's always a strange debate because you got Mohamed Salah goals, 1 Premier League. And then you've got Drogba 4 Premier League titles, and then probably probably has 3 or something. But then what holds more weight?
Well,
Premier League titles.
Drogba is a Champions League.
I think
Drogba is a Champions League.
Yeah, and Salah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, so 3 more cups.
And the truth is, you could definitely make a pretty amazing 11 with African players who played in the Premier League. You got Yaya as a captain, JJ. Doing some tricks there, just making us all love the game again. I think there's been
Mendy
goals. Ebue.
Yes, you could have a solid 11.
Demba Ba
Yaya's brother is
really good
Polo Torre. You know what I mean? Yeah, but
yes.
let's go to the match that I'm dreading to talking about on the weekend. 4-2. Last week's show, I for the first time I think in a while, I said my team weren't going to win. I predicted a draw because I foresaw problems in this game because I felt that Brendan Rodgers is a good manager. But just to get everyone else's views on the game itself, I think obviously, it was an up and down game. Man United scored first, then Leicester got back, and then they led 2-1. Then Man United scored, and then Leicester scored a quick goal to make it 3-2, and so on and so forth. But I think the big moment, guys, is the fact that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer picks Harry Maguire to start the game. Harry Maguire, in the press conference the day before, he says that, I'm not sure, but Harry just started training on grass today. He starts the next day.
I did not know that.
Imagine, guys, he just started training on grass today, and the next day he starts a game. And
gotta love Ole.
Guess what happens in the first goal?
Ole.
Guess what happens in the first goal? De Gea passes
the boy
the ball
is
to
on
him,
holiday,
and he's not as aware, and he lets the ball come to him, and they close him down, and Leicester score. So, guys, I that in itself just tells you what kind of a manager I have.
100%.
Watching the game, I think, I I think when Gary Neville said it, he said it right. I think even Claudio was asking the same question when the season started. He was saying if you're playing a Ronaldo and a Bruno Fernandes together, he was saying that you're going to get problems because now you got two players that the team has to work for. Bruno Fernandes is not coming back.
That's not true though. That's not. That's a lie. But that's a lie about Bruno. If you watch Bruno play, that's a lie about Bruno. But it's true about Ronaldo.
Listen,
it's a lie about Bruno. You need to watch. You need to watch more Man United matches because I'll call out
so
when I hear it.
No, so okay. So, but now, okay. So, what? But this is I hear what you're saying, Silo. But in terms of,
but I also hear what you're saying. But
now, yes. So Gary Neville was saying that now. What Gary Neville was saying is that now in the team you've got play. You look at the starting lineup and you're like, no one should lose a game. No team should. A team like that can't lose a game. And he's questioning also the work ethic of the players as well, because you're saying that he believed like when the time that Man United were great, he had players. He said that players like Fletcher, Owen Hargreaves himself.
I know what he said.
Park. Yeah, he said so. Those guys are they worked. They worked, and there's intensity about them in the game. And I don't think I'm not saying Bruno Fernandes is incapable of coming back. No, I'm not saying Paul Pogba is incapable of that. But what I'm saying is, if you look at a team like Liverpool as well, why can't the manager get that out of his players? I think it should be the manager's job to sort of get that drive out of the players. I don't think, all those players can run, definitely. Man United's team, I'm sure they're capable of playing. A high intensity game, but at times just get them. I don't know. I just feel like they're not. I don't know. Maybe you know better, Selo, but they're not giving 100%.
Man United's biggest problem, right, is the fact that
I
think the coaching is there's a clip that happens on the weekend, right, where you find Bruno Fernandes pressing, right, and Ronaldo doing a half press, right, and then the problem is, right, is that the first four guys maybe press, or the first 2 or 3 guys press, right, and the problem is they play around them, right, and then the ball goes to the centre mids of Leicester. Now the centre mids of Leicester have the lay of the land, and now you've already -4 Man United players. So now you've got 2 Leicester players, and then maybe you got the centre backs who are behind. So now you've got 2 Leicester players at the back, and then 4 Man United players with them. But that means already now you've got -2 Man United players essentially, because now you've overloaded them. And that's what happened in the midfield, is that now Pogba and Matic are going to face more players coming to them. And then now it's obviously going to, it's got better tactics. But I think that's the thing, is that the team hasn't been coached to press together, hasn't been coached to attack together. And even Brendan Rodgers said, Man United don't play with a high intensity, so we press them high. And when you press Man United high, and that's why he played with 2 strikers, is that he knew he was going to press them high, put pressure on them. And he said, our team is based on making the other team make mistakes high up in the field, and we take advantage and we score goals. What do? They do that a couple of times.
It's very easy to see with Man United. It's been happening probably for the entire season, where Man United are trying to play the ball out well from the back. But sometimes you can see these guys, actually, the intensity is too low, dog. If I was, that's why I even predicted this game that is going to go towards Leicester, because looking at the Man United defenders and then considering that a Maguire shouldn't be available for it, it's exciting for players like Iheanacho, Vardy, who run all day, who want to squeeze these guys and make them feel the pressure the entire game. And that's a problem at Man United. There's so many defensive errors that they come from them being too relaxed and not intense enough when they are trying to build up the ball. The problem is also, when they are trying to build up the ball, they don't have a serious tactical approach about what they're doing. And that's because he's shifting so many players. Like, he's got those 2 defensive midfielders who, in my personal opinion, don't know how to pass the ball forward well enough. a lot of the time. I haven't seen a Fred completing maybe 80% of his passes, and he's just passing. He should only be passing 5 yard, 6 yard type of passes forward. He's trying long balls from far, short balls very close up in front of him, and he fails at that quite a few times. But he's still being selected with McTominay in the middle, and they're not the type of players to boss a game. They can go and fight the ball for you if you need one of them to go collect the ball. But for them to boss guys like Jorginho, guys like Arsenal's midfielders or Tottenham's midfielders, it's very difficult for them. They can do this crappy job, but they can't really go in and impose themselves on the game. And then it's like it's just difficult with the whole menu structure, and that comes directly from the top at this point in time. I wouldn't even pick or say it's an attacker's fault. It's more the defensive issues and the fact that you have like so many of defenders and not doing it correctly. It's tough.
One of the things as well is that what you also realize with Man United as well is some of these players, right, when they're playing for their national teams, right, they actually start or they play in different systems and they actually flourish. So I'm going to take an example of Fred. Fred starts for Brazil. You think to yourself, Brazil's got so many great midfielders, right? Brazil have this system where it's either Casemiro or Fabinho start, right, as a six. And Fred plays as a box-to-box that disrupts high up the field. So he plays as a box-to-box that supports the number 10. Number 10 is normally Lucas Paqueta, and he plays high up the field, like how Chelsea uses like a N'Golo Kante. N'Golo Kante doesn't sit as a six. He plays high up the field, but he tries to disrupt the flow of the other team high up, and then he passes on to other players who can maybe use the ball better. And that's what Fred does.
He's not looking for those long passes. He's not looking for the champagne pass.
He sits deep at Man United, but that's actually not what he was doing at Shakhtar Donetsk even. And we sign a player, then now we're trying to force him to play deep. Whereas at Brazil and at Shakhtar, he plays as an 8, where he's trying to block the ball. He's trying to press high up the field, and be disruptive. Because Fred is actually very good. He's a very good presser of the ball, and he's very good at disrupting play up, like in terms of the other team. So then you look at Solskjaer. You're playing players out of the out of position. You signed Jadon Sancho as a right winger, but you play him on the left wing. Like how does that make sense, guys? If you sign a player to play on the right wing, but you play him on the left wing, and then Ronaldo wants to hit the ball, but are you crossing the ball to Ronaldo? I haven't seen Ronaldo get across. You know what I mean? You need to cross the ball. But if Jadon Sancho's on the left-hand side, Jadon Sancho can't cross with his left. He needs to cross with his right.
If Greenwood is on the right-hand side, Greenwood's going to look for the goals instead of crossing.
Greenwood's going to shoot. He doesn't cross. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Man United just got a lot going on for them. And right now we're in shambles, but we've got a match tomorrow in the Champions League. I think we obviously want to qualify for the knockout stage, which I think is very important. But the game at the weekend against Liverpool is going to be a big one as well. Let's see what he does. And if we lose in an embarrassing manner, then yeah, man, the guy, hey man, yeah, but
I'm scared for him, man.
Nick, any thoughts on my coach that I was going to give you? That I was going to give you a few months ago.
This is what Ole does, though. He'll probably end up getting a result against Liverpool, and then he gives himself an extra 2-3 weeks, and the pressure's off him. But like, if Man United want to become the Man United that we all grew up knowing, he has to leave. Like, I think it's just plain and simple. Unfortunately, he's never going to have the stature of these big coaches in European football, and unfortunately he's got massive boots to fill. As much as you guys didn't like Mourinho has a history of winning titles. He's got a history of winning trophies.
100%.
You've got a guy like Ferguson who did everything for you guys. So I mean, Ole's never, unfortunately, he needed another smaller job to prove himself, unfortunately, and he got given the role. So, I mean, you can't really blame him for taking it. But yeah, I think it was too soon. It's a very similar situation to a Frank Lampard, but the difference is Chelsea acted and Man United haven't. Chelsea are flying, and Man United are. Man United take 2 steps forward and then 3 steps back. It's like that.
Yeah.
That's the sort of team they are, and I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they go and beat Liverpool this weekend, and it will just buy more time. And there was talk that there's the police were actually on standby for this weekend because there's talk that there might be another protest, very similar to what happened the last time they played at Old Trafford. So that will be interesting to keep an eye on. Yeah, they love protests. But I don't know. I think personally, yeah, they need a change. It's very tough sitting in a situation where you need, as a fan, you need a change. I can only imagine some of those players also feel the same way. A new voice, in the change room, just to, those players are good players. Besides maybe Fred.
And Maguire.
And McTominay. And Pogba. No, I'm just joking.
The list doesn't stop, my man. But you see those names that you even mentioning,
frozen,
right?
or is he just not talking to us?
No, I'm trying to listen to you, Coach Nick. That's your respected name. But I think
you can't take all this criticism about Man United, man. It's not.
No, I can, guys. It's the truth, guys. I can't hide away from the truth. The truth is the truth. I can't say that you guys are talking rubbish because you guys are talking facts. Man United is in a deep place, right? A deep place. We're just lucky that Arsenal didn't win yesterday because Arsenal would have been right by us if
behind you.
You know what I mean?
What's scary though, like you signed Varane. Varane never played. Correct. He's injured for a few weeks now.
He's injured now.
So
groin
it's
injury,
just
which
a worry.
could be serious.
You guys. I mean, there weren't many clean sheets. You were conceding, but you were still a solid unit with him. And now, as soon as you lose him, you concede 4 goals. That is a bit of a concern.
And he had to pull Maguire into the field, right? They don't have a number 3 defender or number 4 defender.
No, they do. Eric Bailly was ready. He's sitting there just waiting like this, guys. He's waiting there.
Yeah,
that sounds like another kind of big situation.
I can't believe they don't play Eric Bailly.
That shows you that. But guys, that's the thing with Solskjaer. That I've always had the biggest problem with Solskjaer. Solskjaer, he always there's certain players, right, that he just never puts into certain situations. You know what I mean? So a situation like that where you've got Maguire who is 50% fit. He's touched the grass once in 3 weeks. Once in 3 weeks, and then now you put him in a game against Leicester. You're not playing Norwich City here. You're playing Leicester City, guys. FA Cup champions. You know what I mean? And number 5 in the
guys
league
are going to be vying for the same position.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So
what does that tell? What is that like? For me, that when you do something like that, you're sending a message. You're virtually sending a message to the player that is sitting on the bench. Like, guys, 50%. You go to training, you don't see this guy. You see him come the next day, like first time in a while. In the next game, you're the only centre back there. In the next game, this guy you can see he's not even in it. He's starting the next game.
They force
you as a player know that it's over.
And
that it's over. If they put him on half time, even. Nah.
The player that they forced in goes in to make a mistake, which is even worse. Now it's like an egg in his face.
But it's also just like, look, I know the job of managing a football team isn't easy, but there's certain things like you look at Leicester. I'm not a football manager, but I look at Leicester. I know what they're going to do. They're going to use their speed. Jamie Vardy's going to run behind you 100 times, and then you got Maguire, who's not fast when he's fully fit, and put him at 50%, and then expect him to keep up with something like that. Exactly. Just at a basic level, that's just not fit for purpose. Like, you wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Like you look at someone like Bailly, who is a little bit quicker. Not that he's also he's not a sprint or whatever, but he's faster than Maguire and he's fully fit.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer. You put him in there. And that's at least a decision that you can defend. Afterwards, you can say, yeah, look, Maguire wasn't fully fit. We had to put Bailly in. If he didn't quite live up to it, that's that. So now he's got this situation where I trusted the player wasn't fully fit because I've got some system in my head that only works with a certain shape of player. It didn't work, and then he said we need more legs on the field. You had plenty of legs.
You
on the
need
bench.
more legs. Imagine that.
Rubbish.
And then I was
Rubbish.
even listening to Pogba's comments afterwards, and now you can see actually he's lost it. He's losing the change room.
Yeah.
The players are coming out to say, look, dude, we tactically not alright. These guys have just come from international duty. They're tactically astute. They've been working on that quite well with their international teams, getting results. And now they're coming back and they're saying, oh, we are tactically not okay, guys. We are trying our best, but it seems like tactically we're not okay. Our coach is telling us the legs. Ooh, it's going to be the fact that you've got a Cristiano, Pogba, and players of that caliber in that change room now is going to put a lot more pressure on Ole. These decisions won't go lightly to players who want to continue to win trophies and collect accolades as they progress.
Okay.
No, that's definitely true. Yeah. So no, let's talk about how Musa's team stole 3 points away from the startup team.
Riding their
Shout out to Mendy, my boy, Mendy, my boy.
It's the only player there. They should have just had a penalty shootout there, Mendy only. That's it.
Just come in for 5 minutes, watch that go. It was a game of two halves, if you ask me, man. Like, I do feel I was impressed to see, the way Loftus-Cheek and players like that are coming to play. And it seems like they are looking sharp, they are looking fit, they are looking ready for to be more permanent fixtures in this Chelsea midfield. It's an opportunity where they couldn't actually, take on last season because they're loaned out, and to see them coming back and adding a little bit more directness going forward, adding a little bit more opportunities to take on players and show their strength was quite nice from my side. It did get a little bit challenging. There are a few players that were missing for us as well at the back. And there were opportunities which Brentford were looking to actually take on, and they did so well. I think I was expecting us to concede this game against Brentford because over the past couple of games, they've looked the part, right? They look like they have energy when they're going forward. They look like they're looking for good balls, and they're taking their opportunities really well. They look strong on set pieces. They look like a well-drilled team at this point in time with a high focus on going forward and attacking their opponents, which is quite exciting to see, and it was quite something to see Mendy actually coming to the party to save the day on several occasions. Yes, he did have a great day out on the day, and he did keep Chelsea in the 3 points in the last few minutes. Yes, that's true, and I'm thankful for that, because those are those type of games where you need, it might be that you're back against the wall for the last 10-20 minutes, but you'd need everybody to come to the party, and he did that very, very well, which is what makes a good a team, if you ask me. When you don't have your usual starting back four, but you can come out and then still get the result and the clean sheet, which is very good.
Look at Sam. Hey. Chelsea escaped from the sting of the bees. Mendy definitely got stung.
We're escaping, dog, and it's important to do that. That 2 points is literally going to count against us and Liverpool, right? Like Liverpool dropped 2 points against that same team, whereas us, we actually got the result through the Mendy saves.
And Arsenal lost.
But we don't think about Arsenal. Aren't they like someone back down there, Chip?
Yeah. We had to face them first. I guarantee any of you guys faced them first, you would have lost. Yeah, you guys. The worst thing is everyone was expecting it. Liverpool was expecting it, and they still conceded 3. But anyways, but look, I watched the game, and look, first off, I mean, sometimes you look at the stats and you say, I mean, it doesn't really show a picture, but this one was clear. I mean, if in the first half, Brentford have 4 goal attempts, 2 on target. Chelsea have 4, 1 on target, and a goal. Second half, Brentford have 15 attempts, 7 on target. Chelsea have 7 saves. And Chelsea only have 1 attempt on goal, 0 on
Wow.
target, and that's exactly what it looked like. Everything was on their side. And then, but again, what Musa said, and I agree with him. That's exactly why Frank Lampard got the guy there, because he knew, that goalkeeper department. If you want to win things, it has to be as good as your outfield department. And Mendy, for me, is definitely, I would say, definitely one of the best keepers in the world. Mendy, and in that game, he's proven that. But I would have. I would have those 2 posts. I was screaming when the guys hit that post. I thought it was coming. I thought it's bound. But I did mention to you guys last week. Remember, I said the only thing about Chelsea, even if they played that Chalaba at the back, is those guys, they don't want to concede. And you could see it. Keeper, the 4 defenders again. Yes, Brentford were relentless. But again, everything. They worked. I think they hit one off the line even as well. Ball hits the post. No one is watching. They're still trying to, scramble that ball out. And fair play to them. Brentford didn't put it in the back of the net, and they did.
Yeah.
Okay. So anything else from a Nick perspective? I know you love to analyze the smaller teams because obviously they're the teams you aspire to be. Any views?
Whoa!
I didn't watch.
Silo, sorry.
You aspire to be the smaller teams.
There was one thing. Did you watch the game? So did anyone else watch the game besides Musa? Because I'm gonna get a biased opinion here. But anyways,
I'll watch Man United's game on Saturday, but Sunday I watched the games.
Musa, did you watch the game?
Yes.
That incident with Tony, when they get the ball, they pass the ball in the box. And then who was it that gave him a wrestling move, that clothesline? Who gave him that? Who was it? I can't remember. But anyways, they gave him a clothesline they clotheslined him in the throat, and they said he was offside. The ref blows because the linesman put up the flag and says offside. But if he's not offside, it's a penalty. That's for sure. But no one goes back to VAR to check. Why? I don't know. This is
because it was offside.
No. But you see, things like that, there would have been 1-1, and we're talking a different story. But anyways,
because you're playing a startup, man. You're playing a startup at the startup stadium. Come on, the stadium is 2 years old.
But you see,
the stadium is 2 years old. What you
There's another
expect?
thing I'd like to talk about now. Like where's Lukaku gone? There were a couple of opportunity, or there was one opportunity where he should have buried it in this.
He's been waiting.
Game.
But listen, no.
I'm waiting too long now, Doc, for something from him, right? Like we've played big teams, and that's where he should be coming. We're playing smaller teams now, and I'm not seeing him enough, and it's a concern for me because I'm even seeing the Lukaku of old, Dog, where like good opportunities would present themselves to him, and he'd look up to the sky and look up to everybody else hoping for mercy, and that's like I thought we were done with those days.
I read Tuchel saying apparently he's had too much football over the past few months, and he needs a bit of a break. And obviously your backup striker is Werner, so I don't think he's going to get much of a break. So
because even like in the week before, they rested him from Belgium because of muscle strain, so potentially that's all linked. But geez, man, like. This was my concern about having a player of that price tag and the accolades that he was getting, because he goes missing. But
to be fair, guys, that second half,
Cristiano Ronaldo hasn't scored a goal as well in a couple of games. So what are you gonna say? It happens. What must we do?
But for me, this game as well. So this game, everyone was missing. I mean, that second half, Brentford were all over them. It was ball to the it was ball halfway line, Brentford back again, ball out again. Someone gets the ball, Brentford get the ball again. It was literally Brentford the whole half. So I can't.
Guys,
I would say it's a bit too harsh on Lukaku because everyone else was not there.
How did that happen, guys?
Yeah,
the King of the North escaped as I was about to talk about his team.
It is on to face the music, though.
This is a shocker. This is a shocker, guys. This is a shocker. So we're gonna talk about Spurs versus Newcastle. I think obviously we'll obviously let the one side of the match talk first, and hopefully the other side can come back before we move on to Arsenal's game.
Wilson sold me dreams. Wilson showed me dreams. Yo, I was in
that stadium. I gotta say, it was almost cruel. And look, let's be honest. This was not vintage
100%.
Spurs. This is not the best version of Tottenham. There were still the mistakes. There was still moments of indecision. There were periods of the game where we were kind of stodgy and not moving the ball very quick. But the truth is, that's good enough to beat Newcastle at the moment. The goal was well taken. Wilson got in front of the defender. You'd expect the defender to do a little bit more, but it was well finished. He got there, left the keeper with no chance. Really well taken. But it was fairly shortly after that, I would say by about the 10th minute, Spurs were back in control. They had a lot more of the ball. They did look more threatening. And when the goal came, very well taken by Ndombele. And I'm pleased to see him getting back into the fold. He's a quality baller, and it's really cool to see him. I think his fitness level still needs to get better because you don't see him do it for the full 90 just yet. He's not quite there.
I haven't seen him do it for a full season as well.
Yeah, I think that's partly to how Spurs have managed him over the last couple of years. I don't think they've really given him that run. And then obviously Kane's finish was the kind of finish you'd expect Kane to do any day when he's on form. Given that it was his first one, I think it was a good sign. Obviously the VAR proving that it was played onside was important. I think, to mention the incident that happened, I think it showed again that footballers have become really aware of these issues around the health of the player, the fan having the heart issues and stuff, and it was the players who alerted the officials to it so they could get the equipment up there. And last I heard, the guy they thought he would be making a full recovery and all of that. So I think it was again just a sign of how far football has come in terms of taking these issues really seriously, which I think was fantastic. And credit to the players, they handled it very professionally. Obviously, they left the field and kept themselves in the zone, came back, and the game was able to restart without much incident. And then obviously the Kane and Son combo, which we'd all been missing. It was really great to see them combine and get the third goal. I mean, the second half, Spurs went into that more stodgy mode that they've done. Then luckily John Joe Selvey came on but forgot to bring his brain with him, which I think had a big impact on what happened. That
was a rubbish tackle. Wow, man.
Honestly,
the first one was even, I would say, more unnecessary because the first one he's miles from his own box, completely. It's like he just wanted to go. It's almost like he wanted to show the new owners, I'm a bit of a rough player.
Yeah.
But then he puts himself on the
It looked like he wants to get off.
Does it again.
As soon as he came on, it looked like he wants to get off. That's what it looked like. He's like, even he got the card.
He's deeper than we think. Maybe it's a protest action. Maybe he's actually feels very, very strongly about the new ownership, and he's going to get sent off every game in protest.
He definitely might lose his job a lot quicker this week.
I believe you then. I believe you then, Matt.
Yeah, and then
what I saw,
Newcastle were fairly quiet until the own goal, and it was really only after that they kind of realised, look, we're playing Spurs. There's mistakes in this side. We could probably nick something, but we held on to the end. Like I said at the beginning, Nick, I know you missed it, but this wasn't vintage Spurs, but it was enough to beat Newcastle on the day, and I think. For us, the takeaway is you're not going to get away with that every week. Next week we're playing West Ham. If we have the same kind of mistakes, if we have the same periods of not being intense, we will probably not come away winning that one. But I think for Newcastle, it's also a big kind of all the money in the world is not going to help if you end up getting relegated this season. So it's there's a lot of work to do.
Yeah. To be honest with you, like I watched the game. And like the commentators were really like going crazy about how well Spurs played. And to be honest with you, like Kaiser Chiefs would have beaten Newcastle on that day. Like that's how poor we were. And it honestly just shows you, like, with all due respect though, like you can only play what's in front of you. So yeah, I mean, like, well deserved. You won the game, and Newcastle were never in the game besides the first minute or the first 2 minutes of the game, where I thought we scored a well worked sort of goal, and we were on the front foot, and you know, it just proved that if you take games to teams, no matter who they are, you can really get something out of it. But you know, Bruce proved exactly why he shouldn't be in the job, and you know, tactically we were so inept. I mean, the midfield was just a complete highway, and we honestly looked exhausted by, I think, the 60th minute. I don't know if you noticed, Matt, but like our midfield was just walking around, and you know, then Bruce takes off Wilson. We lose in the game 3-1, and we take off Wilson and we put another midfielder on. And I'm just thinking, like, he's just scored a great goal. I mean, he scored like most of our goals this season, and he's only played 4 games. So I don't really understand the thinking. And defensively, you know, like a lot of people in the media and like a lot of fans who don't really understand Newcastle will say Steve Bruce did well. He's done better than Rafa Benitez. But you know what? Benitez had that exact same squad, and Bruce has added to it. He's added 4 or 5 players, and barring one player that he let go, who was our best centre half in Lejeune, you know, those players have gone backwards. Defensively, we were very hard to beat under Benitez, and we were very organised, and it's just so easy to score goals. I mean, some of those goals were schoolboy errors, like not stepping up when you're supposed to, or not applying pressure on the ball from a deep area. Yeah, so like I just think it's just so poor, and it just shows you exactly what's needed at the club. You know, I'm not pushing panic buttons yet, unless we keep Bruce for a significant period. Now, I think if we do make a change, a new voice in the change room, we'll get that group of players specifically, because I do think that group of players is better than at least 2 or 3, 4, 5 other teams in the league. I think individually, I think they are good enough to stay up. And I think if we can get to a January where we can spend, you know, potentially big money on some players that would be available, you know, we would, you know, I think we would be fine. But the longer this man stays in the job, we're going to be in a bit of trouble.
I was going to say,
you talk about. Yeah, go for it, Nick. Matt.
No, I was going to say, like, some of the interplay, some of the interchanges between Wilson and Saint-Maximin, those were, I mean, they had some moments that were world class. You know, kind of, there was the one where Wilson got the ball, was able to pass it through, got it through Royale's legs, and
we should have scored that. That should have made that 2-1. Yeah,
but that connection, that kind of, I know he's going to make that run and stuff. That's clearly stuff they work on. That's not, but then, like you said, for him to be taken off, given what was going on in the game, given how
I have no idea what he's thinking
to
was.
how tired the midfield was. Maybe he was just hoping to try and shore up the midfield. But it was.
Yeah, I mean, it's his first game back. I do understand, and like that's what my dad actually said. Maybe he's just not fit enough. But I'm thinking, I don't give a shit. Like, you know, keep him on, even if you just tell him you don't press the ball, but just be in the box when we do get an opportunity, and he'll score.
How many days on the grass did he have compared to Maguire?
Yeah. So like I just, but like for me, I you know, tactically, I just don't see a plan. And I think, like I've said to you, a lot of those players have gone backwards. 2018, I was calling for Jamal Lascelles to be called up to the World Cup. Like, that's how good of a season he had under Benitez. Yeah. And he is honestly, he is a sad excuse for a captain for our club. And unfortunate, because I actually like him as a bloke. So, you know, for me, we need change quickly. Even though every single Premier League club is trying their best to block everything we do, it's ridiculous. But we've got our club back. We've got our club back, and you know, unfortunately, this is the way the world of sport works, and the way business sport is run as a business. I think and I did want to speak about this, but I did think it's pathetic seeing how 18 clubs can come to a vote to block a 3-week period off, so no commercial deals can be signed. Why?
That's ridiculous.
Because you guys wanted to go form a Super League not even 3-4 months ago, and now you guys are 5 months ago, and now you guys are trying your best to kill the competition. It's ridiculous. You know, it's absolutely ridiculous.
Isn't it ironic that Man City was the one club that abstained? Because they've been benefiting.
They've been through that.
Yeah,
they've been doing that. They've been doing it. So, and listen,
I follow a few of the lawyers that ran our case, our competition case that actually, caught the Premier League with their pants down and eventually got the deal approved. They've mentioned like this has to go to UEFA. UEFA is the body that will make a decision on this if it does go further than the 3-week period. And UEFA themselves have the exact same sort of deals with specific countries and specific sponsorship. So if they want to open this can of worms, but in essence, some of the clubs are just a bit bitter. I can understand why. But I don't
think it's just some. I think it's a majority of them.
But I think it's also for me that the hypocrisy of it is that the Premier League was asked by people like Human Rights Watch and all of these guys to say something about the takeover and act on. And look, the debate about that is neither here nor there. The truth is that it shouldn't be up to sport to implement these policies when governments are doing deals with Saudi Arabia anyway. They're being allowed to do whatever they want. We can't expect sport to arbitrate it. But for then the Premier League to not heed those calls, not to make any mention around that stuff, but then to come in on the commercial side and argue about that, just shows the hypocrisy. Like we're going to be completely blind to human rights issues, but as soon as we see that there's potentially a disparity in the money, that's when we're going to jump in. And I think that hypocrisy, just like the Super League thing, for me is just,
and it's completely anti-competitive to what current Premier League clubs have with other stakeholders. So, for example, Man United right now have I don't know if it's expired, but they had a huge deal with the Saudi Arabian company, a commercial deal, and Man United was one of the whistleblowers, obviously for the takeover not to go through, and together with them and Liverpool now have called for this meeting that happened yesterday, and they had a vote. And it just sounds so weird. There's going to be a 3-week suspension on commercial rights deals so they can outline the laws in which clubs can sign these deals. And it just, for me, it just, only now, like Mike Ashley had Sports Direct and flannels and House of Phrases branded all over our stadium for 14 years, and we never received a cent for it. It was just, it was completely free advertising for him.
But
how does that benefit a club?
Come on.
Yeah, we got the glamour of the fucking white, blue, white, and red banners all over our stadium.
Sports
like for me, like it is unfortunate, but it's not putting me down. I'm still very excited. There is chatter on Twitter at the moment that there is talk that Steve Bruce might be already sacked, and we are waiting for a announcement. But one of the main Sky Sports presenters actually he tweeted the eyes emoji, and then a lot of people screen grabbed it, and then he deleted it. So he probably did that, and he was told to take it down. So I'm not 100% sure as to what is going on.
They were giving that news.
They were giving Bruce. They were giving Bruce his
1000th match
game. Yeah, I think.
That's it.
That was all.
So from what I understand, I always thought that Celo. I always thought that, but from what I'm reading, is his contract was very difficult to. It was a very complicated situation. There's an £8 million payout. So obviously that's Steve. If Steve Bruce. No, but if Steve Bruce is such a fan, like as he says, I'm the one who wants as everyone does, the club to succeed. If he really did, I think he would have walked, especially after all the hate that he's got from the fans. So
if I had the Spurs job, I'd want Spurs to win. But if it was a case of quit or take £8 million, I'd take $8 million.
So no. So exactly, Matt. So like that's what I'm trying to say to you. Like he's not sort of acted in the way that he claims he is. This massive fan of the club that wants the club to do well. He's hanging in as long as he can, so he can get his payout. And I'm sure he won't even return to football after this. I think it would have scarred him. Or you probably go to the Championship or something like that.
For me, it's I was just wanted to get back on the point, like with the with these guys with the hypocrisy and stuff. I saw the interview with Jurgen Klopp where he said it's like he likened it to the Super League. He said that it's just one team, and I said, my goodness me! I mean, the centre back is £80 million. Then you've got your. I mean, the truth about it is that no other team. I mean,
the most expensive
only
goalkeeper.
Man United. Yeah, they've got the most expensive goalkeeper, and for me, it's like, oh, now it's okay when you spend £80 million or close to £200 million to fix your team, but another team mustn't be able to do 3 or 4 times more than you're able to do it. Where do you draw the line?
Yeah.
So I was like, people need to sort their.
I think the reality is I think a lot of the bigger teams are scared. I think it's just more competition, so less of a chance of actually solidifying a top 4 spot every single season. It's already difficult as we know. But I do think there's a specific agenda against Newcastle from what it looks like. Like, I mean, kick it out. The campaign against to shut out racism has come out now and asked for an inquiry as to why the fans were wearing like those Arabian and like I just retweeted some and you guys must watch it, read it. It's a journalist from Saudi Arabia or somewhere in the sort of Gulf nations sort of said this is absolutely ridiculous. Like, we actually find it endearing, and quite comical because at the end of the day, if an Arab person wears Western clothing, like there's no campaign against.
Weren't they embracing them? Or for me, it's almost like you're embracing them rather than even. It's far from it.
Fans doing it, they're doing it as a.
You're taking the culture.
Yeah, I think they would be doing it as an attack. They would if other clubs did it whenever they went to Newcastle, then I think it would be an attack.
Yeah, that would be. But if you're doing it to embrace it, then
I don't necessarily see the challenge.
And if you take anything from the electricity that was running around the stadium on the day, it'd be difficult to see that fans were wearing those headgears as kind of like trying to offend the Saudi nation. It was more
not at all.
Yeah.
But I think, guys, just to close off on the Newcastle matter, like I just want you guys to know, and everyone else that's watching, there's a stigma attached to Newcastle fans now. Oh, we're going to sign Mbappe, we're going to sign Ronaldo, we're going to sign X, Y, and Z. But we're actually just happy that today, for the first time in 14 years, they're cleaning the windows at St. James's Park, and I'm not even joking. Like, they got a cleaning service to come in, and like those high-rising windows where you got to actually. And there was a joke. They were like, there was a joke going around that the 18 Premier League clubs voted against the company that they used, and they need to get someone else in. So, it's quite comical. It's quite comical at the moment. But yeah, we're just happy. We've got a direction now. Hopefully, I think the first step is getting rid of Bruce, and then hopefully we can get someone with a little bit of pedigree. And hopefully I'll be up the table ahead of Wonga soon enough and competing with you lads.
On that, I think it isn't panic buttons or panic stations in Newcastle at the moment, but it may be helpful to press those buttons earlier than later, right? You're only gonna if you wait till January, it's halfway through the season, and then it's like it's very difficult for even a new manager to sort it around.
Bro, I agree, and I think you need to get the manager now. But I'm no fool to say that he's got to get those players. The players are going to remain for 11 games. There's 11 games until he's got to get it right. And if he doesn't get it, if he can get it right to an extent where we're in a position where we can still survive, I don't see why he can't just pull the trigger with the new owners and buy, spend that £200 million to get a squad that can compete and potentially, get up the table. And who knows, towards the end of the season, teams move from like 17th all the way up to like 9th or 9th or 10th. I mean, Newcastle won a relegation battle till the last 3 games and we finished 12th. So like it is possible, but you're right. You don't want to leave it too late, but I do think they will do their homework. And I think if we're in a really poor position, you might see them spending more than they probably budgeted for, just so we can save the status. But 7 games in, 8 games in, you would like someone in new for the weekend, a fresh idea, fresh ideas, a fresh voice, and hopefully that is the difference between our 1-1s this season, or our, we've been in the lead, I think, the most times with Bruce, and we've ended up losing. I think it was like 15 or 20% of the matches that he's coached with us, we've been in the lead and we've lost. Some crazy stat like that. So, like, at the end of the day, we need a change, and hopefully it comes.
No, that's cool. No, I think let's touch on the last game of the weekend, where the former captain of Arsenal, was facing the current coach, who's also a former captain of Arsenal, and then Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who's the captain of Arsenal, scored the first goal. A lot of things going on in that game. I think we can safely say that Crystal Palace has been reborn in terms of the performances this season, showing good signs of football. But obviously, I think against Brighton, they should have won, and they conceded in the last couple of minutes, and in this game they should have won as well, and conceded.
I was going to say their consistency is what's letting them down at the moment. Palace are looking good for long periods, but their consistency and there's little mistakes that's costing them. And if they don't get that right, like Nick said, there's a lot of change that happens in the team, in the log. You could see someone getting sucked into relegation. Look what happened to Hull City back in the day. They started the season at a flyer. They were, at one point, people were talking about them for Europe, and they ended up getting relegated in that same season because they weren't nailing down the consistency. So I do think Palace have something to do. This is a game they should have won.
They've got the most draws. They've got the most draws.
They definitely should have won.
They've got 5 draws so far this season.
I don't know what games you guys are watching, but anyways.
The Premier League.
I don't know what game you guys are watching.
Palace with a better team yesterday.
A better team, but I actually feel like the manager actually could have cost him. It was the manager, the former captain, going back to
Wonga wasn't watching the same game as us.
No, Wonga is in denial. Leave his denial. I think if I looked at that Palace team at the 75th minute, or maybe the 70th minute, 65th minute, they still had a lot of energy going forward with players like Edouard and Milanovic in the middle. And the changes that were made were very defensive, but I feel like there might have been a flaw actually from Patrick Vieira on the day. They were in the ascendancy and they were looking good, and he pulled out those elements from the team which had a lot of energy and were giving them that stability in the midfield. He brought on a Kuyate and a defender when replacing a centre mid and a striker. And for me,
they sat deep.
They had to sit deep now. Like, even Benteke had to come very, very deep to kind of protect the result, but doing that for 20 minutes isn't really the most exciting idea for most teams. It's a very difficult thing to do, and it creates opportunities and invites opponents to come and look in for opportunities. And yeah, I think they were great in a lot of parts, Crystal Palace. But in this instance, I don't think it's been spoken about enough. The fact that potentially the manager did make a mistake. The players came to the party and did well, but then those kind of defensive changes. Yeah, like it was 20 minutes to go while and Arsenal is trying to apply pressure. It just didn't sit too well with me, in my view.
Yeah, let's see what
I heard the ref played an extra minute there. They had a corner, they cleared it, and then what's going on there?
He played an extra 30 seconds. He played an extra 40 seconds for Arsenal. I think, Arsenal, Listen, Wonga, the thing is, you probably thinking that we watched a different game, right? But I am saying that Palace earned their 2 goals. They didn't get them by a fluke. I think that in the first half, Palace definitely could have gotten a goal in the first half. And I think, obviously, there was some good saves from the keeper that you don't like in your team. And in the second half, they continued and they got the 2 goals and it was leading 2-1. And I think, as Musa said, is that I think maybe Vieira shouldn't have made those defensive substitutions. And Palace are going to give a lot of teams some trouble this season.
Yeah, look, you see, for me, when I look at this game, sure. I mean, Palace, they put the pressure, and deservedly they got their goals. Can't deny that. But I mean, even Arsenal as well. I think they, even to get their goals as well, They put the pressure on Crystal Palace. The first goal as well was a very good, well-worked goal. We passed the guys. I mean, it was, for me, what I liked about the goal is the fact, again, it was Pepe. Good combination with Tomiyasu, gets in the box, takes a shot. I think the keeper does poorly with that save of his in terms of getting it out of danger. He puts it right into Aubameyang's path. Aubameyang does very well to put it in from that angle also. But like if you're gonna say Crystal Palace deserved to win more than Arsenal, it's not. I mean, Chelsea got that for me is clear. Like you banging that team, and everyone is, the keeper's there, the defense is there, but Chelsea gets away with the win. That for me, I mean, even Musa can say it, but the Crystal Palace game, you're gonna tell me that we're supposed to be the ones that were supposed to go down with the loss? For me, I saw what hasn't happened, and that's why I look at it. For me, it's a positive. It hasn't happened in about 7 games for us. We started the season poorly in terms of our defense, but here comes one game in the season where we've allowed Crystal Palace's press. I mean, we're very casual. Thomas Partey was very casual when he got the ball there, and they pinched it from him, and then they went to go score. And I think for me, that's the poor side of what Arsenal did that game. And I think we did good to rescue the point as well. Something we wouldn't have also done beginning of the season. That's why I think it's a positive for me. But and I think that's what I will take away from this game. Yes, I wanted to win. We 1 point behind Man United. And then and they're telling us that we're also a team that's struggling out there.
Fighting relegation.
But they I mean, we're not far from them, So, but that's why I look at the game. But there's no way I would admit that Crystal Palace deserved to come more than us come out that game with the win. If it's a fair result, was a draw. That game. That's the honest truth about it. And I'm happy.
I get what you're saying, Manga. I actually get what you're saying. Before as I was coming into the show, I actually thought it was Crystal Palace's to win. But the fact that you guys kept on pressing them and kept on pushing them and kept on applying the pressure is a very good element to see from your players.
So one thing, Musa, that's one thing you've reminded me. The one thing I was not happy about, you saw, I don't know if you guys watched the whole game, but Aubameyang, it's from the first to the final whistle, that guy was pressing every single player. He was pressing. What I can't understand,
going to fetch the ball from his own half.
Yes, he was even defending. He went to go. You saw he was actually doing other people's jobs. You could see sometimes he would come and cover in for who was playing on I think Saka. He went to go do Saka's job to go defend. Saka never went back. He went back. Then as soon as he won the ball back, he went and attacked. Then everyone went and attacked. What I can't understand is, surely if he's doing this, I can't understand why no one else in the team, maybe Smith Rowe is the second player who's doing that. I can't understand why no one else in the team is trying to, back up what he's trying to be doing. Or why isn't he telling the other guys to pick up what they're doing, to pick up the intensity. Even Lacazette, when Lacazette comes on, he's trying to rile up the crowd. He should be riling up the players, and I'm not. He came on with good energy, and I think that's why he ends up getting the goal. He looked like he was going to get a goal when he came on, But why aren't they telling the other players to step up? Because those 2 goals we conceded was because we're taking things easy. We're not conceding. We're not going to concede today.
I'm surprised you haven't mentioned Lukonga's mistake as well. We need to highlight that as well. I think your midfielders in this game. If it was Shaka, we would have started the show with Shaka's. But let's be honest. Lukonga and Partey lost the ball, and that's how you guys considered goals.
Yes, two midfielders, and understand. But you see now with the Lukonga. It's the first time he's done it. It's number 1. And I'm watching. You best believe it. I'm watching. It's number 1. Saka has done number 20 already. Saka has done number 20. You can't have any more. I don't want any more. So I remember I did say Shaka's gone. Now Lukonga has that time to prove himself. But the one thing I also understand is some Arsenal fans, I don't know what, like Guendouzi has a good game. He scores a goal there for Marseille, and I watched it. I mean, he played well.
2 goals.
He scored 2 goals. But now, what the hell does that have to do with Lukonga? The guy was at Arsenal. He's fighting. He's pulling people's hair. We don't want that, bro. We don't want that. No.
What about Saliba?
Go play in the Farmers League.
Saliba's been one of the best
Saliba.
backs.
Saliba.
He never touched the field, but that's another topic for another day. But
Saliba definitely should play ahead of Ben White.
But I think let's talk about the big elephant. Let's talk about the big elephant.
Your 50 million pound centre back.
No, let's talk about Aaron Ramsdale. Aaron Ramsdale has obviously been a guy that you don't want to be in the goals, and obviously the second goal, people feel that he could have done better. I feel that he was somewhat unsighted because the ball came behind the defender. So Edward played it around the defender.
Tell Mendy that.
Obviously the straight.
Tell Mendy that.
No, man.
Mendy saves things flying from under everywhere.
You can't compare the best with the relegation fighters.
It's like
literally relegation fighter.
Leno, we've got Leno on the bench. That's what I'm trying to tell you. We've got Leno on the bench.
You reckon Leno would have saved that? I don't know. Leno's had some howlers in his time.
He has, eh? He has.
No, how many howlers has Leno had? It's probably like 1 or 2.
I don't know. I don't
Not
like.
like,
What am I watching Arsenal for?
I've got real football to watch.
Guys, Ramsdale. The worrying thing about Ramsdale for me is not even the saves. Like, bro, even before he gets he looks scared, bro. He looks scared. It's like he doesn't that shot to come to him.
Nick, as
but
a
he did well.
As a goalkeeper, what do you think of Ramsdale's performance? Maybe you haven't watched him in total.
No, I think he's quality. I think Leno is also a good goalkeeper, but like I said a few weeks ago, I mean, you know, Ramsdale took his chance, and unfortunately, he's not going to leave until he has a proper howler. Not leave, but he'll be taken out. You know, he wants to play for England, playing for a team like Arsenal, who he probably thought was a big club, but probably not anymore. You know, he needs to be playing Premier League football and not in the Championship. So, yeah, listen, I think Ramsdale's a quality keeper. I didn't see the incident that you guys are talking about. You know what? We might just take Leno as a second choice at Newcastle, and he might just make quite a bit of money. So, you know, like that's okay, I guess. He can play for under 23s.
Also, Ramsdale did do a lot in the game, dude, to save you guys. Like, there were a couple of opportunities, like Conor Gallagher's volley, where he was unsighted there, and he made a great save for you guys.
Look, listen, wasn't that guy supposed to be? Wasn't he supposed to be sent off? By the way.
Huh?
They should have had a red card, to be fair.
He should have had a red card. He should have had a red card.
But
the incident itself, anyways.
But before we touch on that, Vance is saying something very valid, guys. Arsenal sold their best keeper to Aston Villa.
Yeah.
Arsenal sold their best
keeper.
Emiliano Martinez is at Aston Villa, and that's Arsenal's best keeper.
But when a big club comes in for a player, you can't say no.
You can't say no.
You can't stop them.
That's true. You can't stop them.
I think they were fighting relegation as well.
They can't hold him back. They can't hold Martinez back from his. They can't. Let the man shine.
His dream move to Aston Villa.
He's slumming it.
On Ramsdale, I mean, Arsenal's problems were not on that game. It's not his fault. I think now they left it all the way to him. But it's 100% defense and midfield they're getting back to those. I don't know what's creeping into them, but they looked very too relaxed. Only Aubameyang looked fired up to win, and Lacazette when he came on. Also Smith Rowe. Yeah. The rest, even Saka.
Remember, we said during lockdown we suspected that Aubameyang had been switched for an evil twin. I think they found the real one again because
he's back.
Remember, there was long periods where it looked like he didn't know what football was. He'd just wander around the field that would like hit him in the head, you know. But now he's back to himself. That was. Yeah, he is. I mean, it's intermittent so far, but if he could carry on that form, he could look like the player he looked like 2 years ago now. Could be that, and that Arsenal needs that. They need someone who's got that energy. And it's not just because Xhaka comes with an energy. He's very shouty, and you know, no.
Yeah, it's like,
but they need players who are actually going to do footballing work. You know, run around.
Yeah, but you just in the field to do stuff,
and that's what Aubameyang is doing. That's what he did. That's what he did last night. But whether or not they can continue to do it, but.
And I agree. Like even players like Lacazette when he came on, it's actually they were the supposed to be the guys who were pallbearers of the responsibility at Arsenal. It was never supposed to be given to kids like Saka.
Pallbearers. I mean,
the pallbearers.
Did the responsibility die?
In the team.
I don't understand. Why do you have pallbearers? Like
no, like the boys who are carrying the dog. They're carrying the dead team. That Arsenal crate, that coffin everywhere.
Oh man!
Well done.
But like, somebody has to do it, right? And it's generally the senior players who have some accolades under their belts that would do it. You'd never expect it to come from the juniors, and that's what's been happening at Arsenal. A lot of the time, it's the kids saving the day. It's Smith Rowe, Odegaard, Martinelli coming through and actually galvanizing the entire Arsenal outfit to go and seek results over the past 2 seasons even. And it's good to have seen Lacazette come with that energy onto the field where he was now kind of taking that responsibility to lift everybody's intensity up and get everybody going, which is, it's refreshing to see. They should be doing it week in, week out for the guys.
I think like the most important thing for me is that Wonga is actually defending his team, like building them up. Like even when you guys beat us, you were kind of non-committal. Like, yeah, it was okay, but there's still lots to do. Here, you drew 2-2. We're like Arsenal at a mare. And you're like, no, Arsenal are on the up. And I think that's good. Mentally, I think it bodes well for Arsenal fans. I think there was a lot of depression.
We're all about mental health here. We're all about Wonga's mental health.
Yeah, I think
we'll still be here for you when you get relegated. We'll still be here, Jim.
Just to wrap up, any one of the final thoughts. I think let's definitely start with the man with all the money in the world right now, and then Matt, and then Musa, then Wong, and then myself. What's your final thoughts, Mr. Moneybags?
I think it's a classic cool-down show for me, talking about a Newcastle loss. So nothing's changed there, but my bank balance is looking a lot healthier.
Wow.
And it's a nice thing to wake up to every morning, knowing that we could potentially have the biggest stars in the world in the next couple of seasons. So yeah, I'm excited. Cool show again. Hopefully we can get our first win against Palace. It's not going to be easy on Saturday, but we'll talk about that on Thursday. Hopefully with the new coach.
Fingers crossed.
I just hope the coach you guys get in is as disappointing. Like I hope it's Arteta or something. And I just
Ole.
So do all you teams, all of you.
Go get Ole. Go buy Ole, boy.
Yeah.
No chance. But
are those your final thoughts, Matt? That's
yes.
You
I think let's start touting Arteta for the Newcastle job. Hashtag Arteta in.
Hashtag Arteta in.
I'm keeping it the same. You know,
Arteta,
Man United, even with all the challenges they had with logistics and injuries in the squad, I think they should have been better on the day. And that's all down to one thing, that there's Ole at the wheel, and they should get Ole out. There's another reminder of Ole out this past weekend from my side.
Ole out.
Out of here, you must out.
Yeah, look what Mandla said there perfectly. 5 games unbeaten, and I think that's important. We need Arsenal, but I think we're very relaxed in this game. And they shouldn't. I mean, the win against Tottenham, I think even like Matt would admit that Tottenham were nowhere. You know, they were literally nowhere, and I don't think we must take that as a thing that we can probably compete with the other guys. And also another interesting thing, I don't know if you guys heard, our £50 million signing said opened in an interview that he didn't watch much of Vieira, doesn't know Vieira.
How dare you?
Doesn't know Patrick in terms of Patrick Vieira, the way he plays, his strengths and what.
Imagine
that just shocked the cack out of me, bro. And we signed that guy for £50 million, and he couldn't even take out a video or YouTube thing to check out Patrick Vieira. But anyways,
and there's something wrong if he wasn't watching football growing up. Then, and he could be caught out in a lot of positions because he hasn't been analyzing
and we
football.
bought him for £50
Maybe he wasn't watching
million
Arsenal back in those days. Like it could have just been that he was, you know.
How do you
Maybe
miss
he was a
How do you miss
Wednesday
Patrick
fan.
Vieira? How do you miss Patrick Vieira? No ways.
Paddy Vieira.
The guy's
Patrick Vieira. How did you miss him?
He's
Petty
24 years old. He's 24 years old. He's 24 years old, man. Come on.
Yeah, but that's a 5 years.
Bro, my brother's 24. My brother knows who Paddy Vieira is, bro. Come on, everyone knows who Paddy is.
How long ago
How do you miss Patrick Vieira?
By chance that they saw those guys. It's the epitome of what they did
Yeah,
is
but
an
he probably
achievement
wasn't
that
taking
no
notes
other
about
teams repeated.
midfield maestros when he was 6, you know? Like
He stays in England.
That's true.
It's the only league you want to play for. Like, how would you make the excuse? Like, goodness me. No ways, no ways.
If he wasn't watching at 6,
that I couldn't tell
You're
you
too hard.
about.
You're too
if
hard
he
on him,
wasn't
come on.
watching at 6, I'm concerned.
Maybe he never had a
Down
TV.
with
Maybe he didn't have a TV, guys. Let's not assume.
Yeah, people have different upbringings. Maybe he lived in a treehouse. It was a happy band.
50 million down the drain.
Yeah.
Should have gone and looked. It's 50 million.
Yeah. Everyone who was tuning into tonight's show, thinking that we're going to give away the shirt today. Yeah, we're going to give it away on Thursday. Apologies for the delay. So if you haven't entered the competition, you still have 2 days to enter the competition. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter or Instagram, and comment with who do you think has been the best Premier League player so far this season. But yeah, thanks everyone who's been on the show tonight and commented. Manja, Claudio, Pums, Sam, Vads,
Thursday night outcasts.
Jason as well. I saw somewhere there as well. Let's see. We'll see you guys on Thursday, and let's see what the Premier League teams do in the Champions League. Those who do play Champions League and those who play
Big teams.
other leagues that we don't even know how they are comprised of. Conference League. All the best to your team as well.
Careful, Silla. You
the
might be
friendly
playing Thursday night sometime.
Thanks a lot. Cheers, gents.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Hey.